Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the Q2 release highlights. It's so great to see so many of you on here this morning, and I really appreciate your time. My name's Jessica, and I'm going to be taking you through this morning's featured webinar. So just to let you know, I have scheduled about an hour for this webinar. It does depend on kind of how many questions do come through. And I will be sending you all a recording by the end of play today. So if you do feel that you need to re-watch any sections of the webinar, please don't worry, I will be sending that recording over to you. Today's webinar will be based on a lettings product. So that's the product that I will be using this morning as well. So before we kick off, I'm just going to go through the agenda with you all today. So first of all, I'm going to be taking you through new features, which we've released between April and the end of June, and then some improved features as well. So there is just one new feature which has come out in the last 3 months, and that is instruction note templates. So I'm going to be showing you how you can use those, the benefits, and some examples as well of when you may want to use these. And then we've got a number of improved features. So we have got brand new icons, which I'm sure you've noticed. We've got some planned maintenance changes as well. So that will be for Fixflo professional clients only, but they're really exciting changes to make it even better for you. We've got some new search filters as well as new user role permissions. There is a change in agent initials and colors as well. So I will show you that. There is a new setting called require costs. And you can actually change the contractor invoice and cost options on a per issue basis as well. So I'll be showing you that. And finally, we've made some big improvements to the quote management workflow as well. So sit tight, I'll be going through all of this with you just now. Before I do so, I just want to release a quick poll. So there are 2 polls in this webinar. The second one will be made live at the end of the webinar to get some feedback. So let me tell you a little more about the releases. Before I do that, very quick thing, any questions at all, please get them through to me. Feel free to use the Q&A button, which is available on your Zoom bar. And just to keep us on track, I will answer them all at the end of the webinar. So get those over to me. I'd be so happy to answer your questions and to see you engage. Okay, perfect. So a little bit of information around our releases. Some of you may already know this, but I'm just going to go over this for those of you that don't. Our releases occur every 2 weeks. So it's really often actually. And our development team work really hard to get Fixflo the best it possibly can be. And us as a CS team, we are trying to make sure that you guys have all the tools so that you can fully understand and start using the new features in our releases. The next release, just to let you know, is going out tomorrow. Fingers crossed, as long as everything runs smoothly, that is, it should be out tomorrow. What do our releases include? Well, that's a very good question. So our releases include new features, any improvements, and also bug fixes as well. So it's software, guys. Occasionally, unfortunately, there are bugs that crop up. Obviously, we do our very best to make sure we don't get that many bugs, but we will fix bugs as well in our releases, and we will always let you know if you've raised a bug with us. We'll let you know once it's been fixed. So what should you be looking out for to make sure that you can stay on top of these releases, although I can see many of you do, which is amazing. So you should be looking out for emails from us. We will email you with kind of client-related information so that you guys can start using these new features and improvements. There'll be a pop-up as well. So when you log in, it'll be a pop-up that appears. It will display once. So if it's there, sometimes I understand there isn't time even to take a screenshot of it if that's the case. But it will appear once and it will allow you to see what's new and also click to see kind of more about the release notes. And also we have a fantastic help site, help.fixflo.com. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of this. This is where you can read all about our releases. This video will be on there as well in the next couple of days. I'll put this one on here as well. So we are trying to kind of train out our releases even better. These kind of webinars on these releases are relatively new. I started them in March. April even, sorry, so for Q1. But do keep an eye on our help desk, and our help desk is also fantastic for any questions you have. There's a number of articles and also videos available on there as well, helping you to learn the system. But so many of you are interested in the academy, which is fantastic. I will be adding you guys who would like to be added onto there as well. But it's excellent for training. Okay, so let's start the actual webinar. Thank you again to everyone who voted in the poll. Any questions, like I said before, please get them through in the Q&A. I will be happy to answer them at the end of the webinar. So we're going to start off here with instruction notes templates, and this is kind of a new feature that was added, I believe, in April, so kind of the beginning of Q2. So what are the benefits, first of all, of instruction notes templates? Well, they can help to save time by having instruction notes pre-written that are going out to your contractors. They can be used by any member of the team. So just because you perhaps create an instruction note doesn't necessarily mean you're the only person that can use them. Anybody else will be able to then use those templates, saving not just you, but your team time as well. And they are not set in stone. So if you were to have a template and add that to a particular job, you can edit them on a per issue basis, which is fantastic. So examples of when you may want to use these. So this can be brilliant for things like COVID-19, maybe just, letting the contractor know, wear a mask, perhaps contact the occupier beforehand using the comments tab just to make sure that they are definitely COVID negative, even though you can obviously turn on those COVID-19 questions for occupiers. Things can change day to day, right? So you may just want to remind contractors of that. Remind them about vulnerable occupiers, urgent jobs, just to stress that this really is high priority. And also just to discuss the works authorization limit. Let contractors know when you're on site, if you think it's going to be above the works authorization limit, no worries, give us a call, we can clear it on the phone. These are just some examples of when instruction note templates may be really, really useful. Okay, so I guess now your question is, well, how do I add and use these? So just to let you know, you will need to have administrator rights in order to add the instruction note templates, edit and delete them as well. But they sit, so using your left-hand menu sidebar, you will want to click here on setup, click here on settings, not settings, sorry, actually, ignore me, setup and content edit. Do apologize. And from here, you may see a brand new tab. So content and fault tree pop-ups have been long-standing tabs here, but there is a brand new one called templates. Now, if I click into here, you can see that I've added just 2 examples here. If you would like to add a brand new template, you do so by clicking add template. You simply add a name here and the content will go here. Once you're happy, you can click save. And if I go back, we can now see that that template is now sitting here. So I now have 3 available. As an administrator user, you can go into any of these and edit them if you want to, and then save. And you can also remove them by clicking on delete here. Okay, perfect. So I'm not going to save that for now, but I've got in content edit under setup, I've got all of these templates sitting here. So I'm quite happy with those. So that's how you add, edit and remove them. Again, guys, any questions, pop it in the Q&A. How do you now use these? So they can be used in one way, and that's using the workflow instruct works. So if I go onto my dashboard and I go into my reported issues to do, and I click into one of my reported issues, let's say this one. The way to use this, like I say, is using this workflow here, instruct works. Now, I'm sure you guys know this is where you instruct works straight to one contractor and one contractor only. If I click here, before I can add a contractor, there is some information that I need to add first of all. So that's like works authorization limit, works due by, and I can also add instruction notes. Now you should notice here that the 3rd field down does say instruction notes templates, and this will only be there and be available if you have templates added into your setup, content edit and templates. If they are not there, then this field will not display. You will simply see instruction notes. If I click here on this drop down arrow, you can see the 3 examples I have here. If I was to add, for example, COVID-19, you can see that then the content appears for me here in the instruction notes. And as I mentioned before, you can now edit this on a per issue basis. So I can make changes and then scroll down and press proceed to next step, where I would then go ahead and choose a contractor to award the job to. As I mentioned before, it's 1 contractor per issue. But hopefully you can see that as a real time saver. So if there's often instruction notes that you provide to the contractor, add the template, you can amend it on a per issue basis, and it will just save you and your team time as you go and award jobs. I hope that's been helpful. And it's something that you guys think you would actually use. So that is something that you can now start using. Perfect. So just to let you know, I'm sure this is something you've already noticed, but I'm just going to point it out. Another big thing that we did in the last quarter was we changed the icons which are available on Fixflo. So these used to be more kind of grayed out, but they're now outlined more and they're white in the middle, or translucent, you could say. But the icons here have all changed, and we've also changed them within an issue basis as well. I really hope you like them. And that they're a bit clearer for you and your team as well. So that's just something small I thought I would point out. Now we're going to move on to the planned maintenance changes. Planned maintenance is available for Fixflo professional clients only, and it allows clients to create recurring service events. So we're talking planned works. We're talking about things such as EPCs, gas safety certificates, boiler services, window cleaning, gardening, anything that recurs on a yearly, monthly, weekly basis, something like that. It is an absolutely fantastic tool, and it sits here on your left-hand menu sidebar. If you are on Fixflo Professional and you're not using it, I'd highly recommend that you do. If you need a way to manage your planned works, we've got loads and loads of help for you to kind of learn this. It's available on our help site, which you can in fact access by clicking here on need help and using this search bar to search for example, planned maintenance. We've got some excellent videos and some also featured webinars. I'm going to be holding a featured webinar on planned maintenance, hopefully in July, just because there have been lots and lots of changes. So I really want to update everyone about it and refresh that video that we currently have. So watch out for that. It should be at the beginning of July. But there have been some exciting changes. First of all, you can now attach an occupier to planned events. So before, it used to be really, really unclear for contractors when they were trying to contact the occupier. It was all sitting on the detail tab. I know a lot of people complained about it and said our contractors just don't fully understand how to see the occupier details. It really wasn't clear. So we've really cleared this up now. So to see this, if I click here on planned maintenance, you can choose this on an event template basis. So if I click here on event templates and I go, for example, to boiler service, you can see here that within the event, there is add occupier to issue. Now, this means that if you have got this ticked, and obviously you'll press save, that means that for each and every planned maintenance issue which is created, which is this event template, so boiler service, it means that the most recently added occupier to your Fixflo system will be attached to the actual IS number which is created. So with planned maintenance, it's really important to understand that IS numbers, so issues, are created on the instruction date of the service event. Again, please watch the video if you're not quite clear on this. They are available on the help site and they really are helpful, but I will be redoing that webinar in August. So do keep an eye out for that at the beginning of August. I think I said July earlier, I do apologize, August, so next month. And when the IS number is created, the most recently added occupier will now be added to that issue if you have got this switched on. We are going to be doing more work around making this clearer when you're actually adding service events. So keep an eye out. There is more to come with this. That's why I'm not quite doing that planned maintenance webinar just yet. but this is a really, really exciting change. And I'm just going to show you how this would then look from the contractor's side of things. So it's much clearer as to who they need to reach out to. So first of all, I guess contractors receive an email, right? When they are awarded the job. This is an email that was sent to the contractor here. And you can see it says here, "Dear Mr. Pepper, you have been allocated a job. Please contact the occupiers to arrange an appointment and then update the issue." So they can click here to see the occupiers. And even more so, we now have the occupier's name, email address, and contact information sitting here on the actual email itself. So it's not something now that's hidden. It's really, really clear to contractors, making it easier for both your contractors and obviously yourselves. So that is a really exciting update. As well as that, we can see here that when the contractor is actually logged in, you can see this is a gas safety certificate, one I did earlier. And you can see here that they've got the occupier contact details sitting here. So I don't know if you guys remember, but before on the contractor side, this little box, if you like, with the contact information of the occupier, this wasn't actually here at all. It just had the information at the top. And it really wasn't very clear. They had to click into details and scroll to see the occupiers at the property. So this is much, much clearer now. And hopefully it's something that will really help to remove those kind of questions that contractors have saying, well, how do I contact the occupiers? And then you get in touch with us and we have to train that out. This is much, much clearer now. So hopefully that will make a really, really big difference to you guys that are using planned maintenance. One thing though to bear in mind with that is you must ensure then that your occupier details, so your data within Fixflo, is really, really clean and hygienic and correct within Fixflo. There is a data module on the Fixflo Academy, which a lot of you are excited to be signed up to. So I'm really, really happy about that. Remember, it is for lettings products only. So if any of you block or build to rent customers are on here and you've said yes, unfortunately, I won't be able to add you. But there's a data section for those who are, and it will tell you about how to keep your data really, really clean. But just to let you know, you would click here on people, you would go to occupiers, and you can simply archive occupiers here on the right hand side. And it is important because you want to make sure that occupiers that have moved out aren't receiving phone calls or emails from contractors saying, hey, can we arrange a time to see your gas safety certificate for this property? And they say, well, I moved out a couple of months ago. That's not a very good experience for either the contractor or the occupier. So making sure your data is correct and up to date is super key here. And just to let you know, more iterations to this kind of development with plan maintenance is that an email will soon be going out to occupiers as well, keeping them in the loop, because at the moment they just receive that comment or that call from contractors, whereas actually an email will soon, not yet, but soon start going out, probably from tomorrow's release actually, to say gas safety certificate is soon due at your property. Please keep an eye out for this call or email. So that's a really, really exciting other change. And again, like I say, keep your eyes peeled for a featured webinar in August when I'm going to be going through more on planned maintenance. Another thing you can do in terms of attaching occupiers, again, is within planned maintenance, again, here on your left-hand menu sidebar. And if I go to event templates, I'm going to go back into boiler service just to keep it nice and simple. You can also here share your occupier details with contractors. So that's your kind of other related occupiers, if you like. And as I showed you before, when I went in as the contractor, if you've got that turned on, they will then sit here and your occupiers at the property so that they can reach out to other occupiers as well. If, for example, this contractor couldn't get hold of Alex Duke, then they've got other people they can try and reach out to within the details tab. So make sure you're happy with your settings and that your data is kept up to date. Okay, perfect. So a really powerful tool on the plan maintenance feature is our compliance matrix. It's absolutely brilliant as it will show you how compliant you're being across all of your properties. And we've made some exciting changes here as well. So if I click here on compliance matrix, These are small but really effective changes. So the first thing I'm going to mention here is when you're on the compliance matrix, one thing to really look out for is the number of pages you've got. Obviously, we can only have as so many kind of properties on one page, so it doesn't become overwhelming. So it is kind of broken down and segmented across pages. So keep an eye out for that. But if you click here on print, this is brand new. It will come up with a new tab for you as a PDF. And this has got that page only. That's why I pointed out the pages. So this will be just page 1 of this PDF, allowing you to, for example, use these in kind of meetings. So you can prep things for slides, perhaps if you are, management and you wanted to show something across the company, or you wanted to show something to higher management yourself. This is a really good thing you can use in order to have these, attach them to slides, but just do remember that when you press print, you are printing the page you are on. So that's why I wanted to bring that up, but hopefully this is something you can really use. And obviously I've been a terrible property manager here. These should really be green, but I'm sure you'll have a much greener slide to show, so you can really start using these in meetings. Another thing that we've done with the compliance matrix, again, a small but effective change, is we have increased the number of filter functions that you can kind of filter your compliance matrix out a little bit better, and then you could perhaps print that if you wanted to. So a really classic kind of filter function that we have on most of our searches sits here. On most of our searches, there's a little drop-down arrow on the right-hand side of the search bar here. If I click on that, you can see here a number of filters do appear, and these have been updated and improved. So really exciting, allowing you to kind of narrow down exactly what it is that you want to see and perhaps print and show. So for example, here you've got property service program types, you have has, and you can have different event templates if you want to. And also a really good one here is the property compliance state as well. So you could have like is compliant, is not compliant, whether it's statutory only as well. So for example, here is not compliant statutory only. As much as it's brilliant to see, yes, you've been, compliant on these things, you really want to know your statutory issues which aren't compliant, because then you want to drill down into those. So you could then search that, and then you'd be able to see that actually these are not compliant and we need to really get focusing on them. Again, I'm sure you guys are much better property managers than my dummy site here, and you'll have a much better compliance matrix to show off to management. But there's just some exciting changes there. The final plan maintenance change that I want to talk to you about is you can now bulk set intervals. So if I go into plan maintenance again, I'm going to go to service events here. What you can do is, again, we've got that classic drop-down filter allowing you to better search. If, for example, I'm looking for certain event templates such as boiler service and click search, what you might want to do is click here on options. And we've got, these two have been here for a while, but we've also now got bulk set interval. So here you could select the ones that you want to choose, or you could select all results. I'm just going to select 3 here, for example. If I click set instruction interval here, you can say how many days in advance of the due date you want to create an issue for the work. So if, for example, you've created plan maintenance events and you've only set 7 days, you can bulk amend those to say you actually want 30 days so that the issue is created 30 days in advance of the instruction date, allowing you to more easily change the instruction interval. So that allows you to do that on a bulk basis, and hopefully that's something that you guys would find helpful. Okay, perfect. That is all of our plan maintenance changes, but remember there is more coming now that we're in Q3, and I will be doing that featured webinar. So please keep your eyes peeled. If it's something you're interested in, sign up. I'd love to see you there. And do feel free in the meantime to click here on Need Help, search plan maintenance, and have a look at our fantastic training videos and articles. Okay, so this is more now to do with filters. We've got some new issue filters as well. So if I click here on issues and issue search, again, the classic drop-down filter here. This allows you to filter out all of your issues that you have on Fixflo and narrow down exactly what it is that you're looking for. We have added a few new filters to this, so they keep getting added, so the list does get longer. So one of them, first of all, is issue type. So now you will be able to filter by reactive, planned, general inquiries, and also remedials as well. So again, this is really good if you're using planned maintenance. And you can also create general inquiries through Fixflo. That is something you will need to get in touch with us, and we can turn that on for you. It needs to be turned on by somebody here at Fixflo, but we can do that to create general inquiries such as maybe neighborhood issues or I don't know, something about the bins or something. So that can be something that you do, but it's really brilliant to be able to, for example, filter this out and just see, for example, all planned works, and they then appear here. Obviously, planned is anything which is created through planned maintenance. Again, you will need Fixflo Professional to use that. And if you are on Fixflo Essential and you think this would be helpful for you, let us know and we can always upgrade your account. There is a cost to it, so get in touch with us. You can get in touch with us as well through this Need Help widget by clicking on Contact Us, and we would happily get back to you. I will just ask that if you are going to go through the support widget, you please do search for your question here first, as you're likely to get an answer much quicker through our fantastic articles and videos. Another thing that we've added to that, as well as issue type here, we've also added property tag. So property tags have been around for quite a while, but we are now starting to branch out a bit with tags and use them a bit more. And one of these ways is now you can search by property tag. So if you do have any tags, for example, any properties with tags, you could then search for issues under those particular properties and group them together. So that can be really, really helpful. You do need to make sure that properties obviously have tags first of all. I'm going to see if any of these work. There we go. Okay, nothing's showing any results at the moment, but hopefully you get the idea where what you can do is, if I click here on properties, you can click into a property and scroll down where you can add tags here. What that means is you may say, for example, have lots of properties with British Gas Home Care, or properties with gas or no gas or something like that, so that you could then literally within properties here, click again on this drop down and you could search by tag to search all of those properties in one group. You can now also search for all of the issues within that group of properties as well. So again, to do that, you would click here on issues, issue search, use the drop down and go through property tag, which sits just here. We do have a help desk article as well on property tags, and again, get asking through the Q&A. Another new thing as well that we are adding and we're also iterating on is you can now add issue tags, which is so exciting. So it means that you can tag certain issues with something. You can also now, as you can see, search for the tag. Like this is the issue tag. So we've got property tag, and you can also search for issue tags as well here to, for example, find all of the issues with a particular tag. This is something that we are going to be working on. It is at its very first stages just at the moment. So we haven't really told anyone too much about it. But just to show you, if I go into an issue, what you can do is it's very hidden at the moment. It is actually here within editing the actual issue. You have got this option for tags just here, and this will allow you to categorize and report on issues slightly better. And you can also search now within issues for issue tags as well as property tags, as I've just shown you. But do keep your eyes peeled, because we are going to be making this much more obvious, and you will actually be able to start editing within the issue without having to click on edit. At the moment, I appreciate how hidden that is, but keep your eyes peeled. We are working on that. So I'm not going to talk too much more about that, as it's a work in progress. We also have some new user role permissions as well. So user roles will be explained really, really well in the Fixflo Academy if you're not 100% sure. Basically, when you add new agents to Fixflo, you can provide them with certain user roles to set permissions so that some people can do absolutely everything on the system, whereas some people have more limited options because you don't want them to fuss with settings. You don't want them to fuss with, I don't know, Copilot rules and things like that. So in order to make this more granular, we have added a few more user role permissions. To see these, you can click here on people. And scrolling down, you've got your user roles just here. Now, by default, there will be 2 roles provided by Fixflo. You have got your administrators and also your agents. Administrators have absolutely all of the permissions, including settings as well. So they can go into setup and go through all the settings, including adding templates, as I just showed you before. And agents have, in fact, less roles. So if I click, or less permissions. If I click here into agents, you can see that these are the permissions, and you can, for example, start like adding more permissions for your agents, and you can even go as far as adding a whole new role so that you've got agents perhaps with X amount of permissions and then maybe managers with less, or however you want to call it. You can add and edit your very own permissions. It's just making sure the right people see the right things, and the roles that we've added, or the user roles, the user permissions even, sorry, that we've added are you can edit Copilot rules. So Copilot is a fantastic tool which sits here on your left-hand menu sidebar, right at the bottom, and it allows you to automate works so that when an issue comes in, it, for example, gets sent straight off to a contractor. Again, if you're interested in that, please go to Need Help. We've got another fantastic pre-recorded webinar on Copilot, so explaining exactly how that works if you're not using it yet. But you can provide people permissions so that they can, or can't, if you like, edit those Copilot rules. Obviously, it's automation. It's quite a big thing. You want to make sure that the correct people have permissions to do the correct things on Fixflo. Finally, we've added this, can view order forms and billing details as well. Billing details sits under setup. So you might want somebody to be able to, for example, not see all the other settings, but you might want them just to see billing details because they deal with your accounts, but you don't want them necessarily to be able to fuss with your settings, content edit, all of those different things. So it really gives you guys more flexibility in terms of the user roles you have and the permissions you're providing people. Okay, perfect. Now the next one is really, really hidden actually, but it's a small little thing which some of you might really like. So if I click here on my agent and click on view profile, what I can do is I can amend the color here of my little bubble, and also the what's in this. So I might want to change the initials here as well. It's hidden though, guys. So if you click here on your agent and go to view profile, if you do just want to make some changes, you will literally click here on your bubble. See, it doesn't even show as editable, so it is so hidden. But if I click there on the G, you can see my profile badge pop-up appears, and here I can add my coding, so my initials, and also change the color. So this does allow me to be slightly more creative if I want to be, and it is recommended that you only have 1 or 2 letters in here. Anything more and it starts to look a little bit silly. You can add up to 3, but it does kind of, it can look a bit too much sometimes. So if I wanted to change this to JD, because they're my initials, and I wanted to go a little bit, say green, because I like the color green, I could then press save. Now you'll notice it's updated here, but not yet here. The reason is you need to log out and then log back in order to actually see that change. So if I log back in now, you will notice that it's now still got my name George on here. Not sure why I'm called George on there, but the color and the initials have in fact changed. So if that's something that bothers you and you want a different color and different initials, feel free to go and update that if you want to. This can be done on a per agent and team basis as well. So not just available for agents. In order to do it for teams, you would simply click here on people. You would click here on teams, and you can click into a team here. And again, it doesn't show the edit button, but it is edit SL for South London. And I might want this to be, I don't know, this kind of lighter blue. Press save, and that does in fact update straight away because it doesn't reflect here or anything, but that will update straight away for you. And it's just a way for you to be slightly more creative and have things looking just the way you want them. Okay, perfect. So next we're going to be talking about a new setting that we have available. And remember, guys, all about permissions now. If you have access as an administrator, then you will be able to see and amend this setting because you will have access to setup, which sits here on your left-hand menu. From here, I'm going to click here on settings. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay within the issue settings tab, scroll down, and I'm going to open up general. Now, just a quick point out here for anybody that's going to be going onto the Fixflo Academy. So excited for you all. If you are an administrator user, you will have a module on settings as well. Anyone that's not an administrator user will not, because it is bespoke training. So if you are an administrator, you will have a course on that. Now, and scroll down, you can see here we've got default contractor cost options. Now, this is brand new. We've always had being able to choose the contractor invoice options here, so you can kind of narrow this down if you want to, but also the default contractor costs option. So this is new as a setting. So by default, this will be contractor can choose to provide costs or not provide costs. If you would like every single contractor to provide costs on your Fixflo site, you can amend this to either provide costs, which you would if that's what you wanted, or do not provide costs if you're quite happy for them to do that. So completely up to you. Obviously, make the change, scroll down, and then press save. So I've now changed that to provide costs, meaning that the default setting now for each and every issue is that contractors will have to provide costs, and it won't give them the option provide costs, yes, no. It will automatically ask them for costs when they go to mark the job as complete. Again, for those of you going to the Fixflo Academy, you will learn the contractor side of Fixflo, so you'll be able to learn much more about that. Okay, perfect. Just to let you know, both of these settings, so the contractor invoice options and the contractor costs options, can be amended on a per issue basis as well. So you're not stuck with that. That is not set in stone. If I go back to my dashboard and I just hop into an issue here, and I go to instruct the works, as I mentioned before, you've got the instruction note templates here, which is one of the fields which you need to add, or you can add, sorry, it's an optional field to add before you choose the contractor. One thing as well, actually, I think I forgot to mention is that the instruction notes actually are now also in the contractor email that goes out when they are awarded the job, whereas before they used to just be in the system. So they're much more visible as well now. So that's another really good reason to start using instruction notes. But as well as these fields, you can scroll down and you can see here we've got the contractor invoice and costs option. So you can set it as a default, as I just showed you, if you are an administrator. And when you go through and award the job, you can actually make amendments here as well. So you could say, hang on, sorry, bear with me 1 second, because I did change that to provide costs. Let's just double check if I refresh. Okay, I'll bring that up with the development. I do apologize for that, but you can amend this as well on a per issue basis. I will look into that and see what happened there. Maybe I didn't quite press save properly or something. I'm not sure, but I will definitely look into that after this webinar. Always good to test these things. So yes, you can on a per issue basis make these amendments as well if you wanted to change it per issue as well. So it's just something to bring up, something you can start being aware of. Hi guys, I'm so sorry. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I am back. I got kicked out and I'm not sure why. I do apologize. So I was just talking about request quotations, and I was saying how it used to be much less flexible than it is now. We've made some big changes, and I really hope for those of you using request quotations will really like this. So just to show you what we've done, there are two big things we've done here. So the first one is when you have the issue status quotes requested, that means that you've gone to one or more contractors and you've said, please, can I have a quote for the job? If you click here, so you can see now that we're waiting for these two contractors. It's so easy now for you to click on the quotes tab and uninvite and re-invite contractors. So this is something new, much more flexible than before. You can click here on uninvite and press yes. So you can now see that that contractor has been uninvited, and you can easily re-invite as well. So this is a really big change and improvement that we've made to quotes, making it much more flexible for you. And the other change that I wanted to mention to you is that sometimes you may say to two contractors, you've got a week to quote, but one contractor comes back much, much quicker than another contractor. If that is the case, then what you can do is you can go here to quotes, and you can see, for example, the quote that's been submitted and the person that hasn't quoted yet. And on next steps, you can actually now award the job to the contractor that's quoted or request quote approval. You don't need to wait for all of the quotes to come through, which is something that you used to have to do. So if you were waiting just on one contractor, you would have to wait until that quotation period ended before you could crack on. If one contractor's come back to you really quickly and you think, actually, that's a really good quote, uninvite the other contractor and get awarding the job or ask for quote approval. So that's something you can do to kind of jump forward. I'm really sorry, because I was kicked out, the questions that you guys asked have actually disappeared. What I can do is, if you'd like to put them back in the Q&A, if you guys are still here online, I think a few people left when I got kicked out. I'm so sorry. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But if you'd like to pop them back in the Q&A, I'm really happy to answer them. Alternatively, I might be able to find them on Zoom when I come out of this webinar later. But if you are still here, please ask them. Two questions I know had come through. I just unfortunately cannot for the life of me find them right now. I might be able to find them, like I say, after, or just simply pop them back in the Q&A if that's okay. I'd really love to hear from you, and I can't find them right now, so I do really apologize. But I do hope this has given you a really, really good understanding of all of the new and exciting releases that we have done in Q2 at Fixflo. What I'm going to do is I'm very quickly going to, thank you, a question has come through, so I will answer that in just a moment. I'm just releasing a final poll. There are 5 questions here. So the questions are, how would you rather stay up to date with our releases? Would you prefer video tutorials, or are you quite happy with online articles? Please let me know. We have 2 out of 10 questions. 1 is low and 10 is high. Again, I really do apologize that the webinar cut out a few minutes ago. I'm glad I could get back on here. How did you find the content of today's webinar? And also, how did you find it to be hosted? I'd really like to know how you got on. Whether or not you learned something new today, it'd be great to know if you did, even if it was just one small thing. And do you think you'll be using the instruction notes templates going forward? It would be really great to know if that's something that you find useful. It is good to kind of get feedback. And a question has come in. So a question is coming from Denise. Thank you for your question. How do I obtain a recording of this session? So I will be sending out a recording to you all by the end of play today. So keep your eyes peeled for an email. It will have the recording on it, and I will, and then you'll be able to share it with your team or rewatch it, anything like that. So it will be available for you, Denise. Perfect. So the poll is still running. I really appreciate all of your feedback. And another question, Denise, thanks. You're so very welcome. Guys, I'll be staying online for a couple more minutes for anybody that does have any further questions. It's been a real pleasure going through the releases with you. I hope you find them helpful. I hope you found today's webinar enjoyable, and if there's any further questions, I'll stay online for a few more minutes. Thank you so much for joining me and for filling out the poll. As always, it's been a pleasure. Derek, you're very welcome, and keep safe, keep well, and enjoy the weather. I'm expecting a heat wave. Apparently it will be really, really nice soon. So yeah, thank you guys all for coming. Have a lovely rest of your day. I'll be online for a few more minutes for any questions. Bye bye.